Hi everybody, this is Silvio Canto in Dallas, Texas on Wednesday, October the 3rd, and welcome to our video commentary. Maybe you've heard the comments by Senator Booker of New Jersey, who basically said it doesn't matter if Kavanaugh is innocent or guilty, his name should be withdrawn. Well, it makes you wonder, why are we even having hearings? You know, they were asking for an investigation by the FBI, but it doesn't matter what the FBI says or what they come back with. At least Senator Booker has made it clear that it doesn't matter to him because he's opposed to the nomination all the way. And I think that we need to start looking beyond the partisanship or the candidate being nominated. We need to start looking at the big picture of what the role of the Senate is, because, you know, the president nominates someone. The role of the Senate is to look at the nomination and, through their role of advice and consent, approve the nomination. Most of the time they do. And in fact, throughout our history, at one time we didn't even have hearings. It was actually done much sooner. But historically, if you look back, for example, 40, 50 years ago, most of these nominations were given 95, 96% approval from the Senate, because what the Senate would do is look at a judge and look at his background, look at the references, and look at his history, and then based on that, they were looking for a certain profile of a judge. And if a person met that profile, the person would get in. But ever since Roe v. Wade and the influence of the left in the Democrat Party, these nominations have become very ugly. I mean, this one is the ugliest of all, probably. But you had the case of Judge Bork in '87. You had the case of Clarence Thomas in '91. And then even the two nominations by President Bush, Roberts and Alito, ran into these kinds of trouble themselves. And I think that we have got to get back to a time where the Senate performs advice and consent, not litigate the last election, which is what is happening right now, where many Democrats are basically using this nomination as a way of running for president in 2020 or raising funds from some of their interest groups. That's not what these nominations are about. And I just feel very strongly that the country cannot take too many of these partisan confirmations. The country is bitterly divided over this. I think there's a lot of people like me who feel very strongly that Judge Kavanaugh has been treated very poorly by the Senate. Accusations that have been made about some things that happened 36 years ago that you cannot prove anyway, even if they were true. You couldn't prove them in a court of law. And the attacks obviously on his daughter recently, all this stuff is completely uncalled for. And this is what these nominations have apparently turned into, and I think that's very, very sad. You know, Lindsey Graham, I thought, made an excellent point when he was talking to the committee, and he said that, you know, he was talking to Judge Kavanaugh, and he says, when you get over to the Supreme Court, say hello to Kagan and Sotomayor. And the point that Mr. Graham was making is that he voted for those two ladies who were nominated by President Obama. He voted for them because he didn't agree with everything they stood for, but he understood that elections have consequences, and Mr. Obama got to nominate somebody that he wanted to nominate, and as long as his nominees met a certain profile of a serious judge, that he would vote for them. And I think a lot of Democrats need to study that a little bit and consider that the next time that any president appoints someone, that this is not a question of relitigating the last election or fighting the last election. It's advice and consent, which is an entirely different duty that the U.S. Senate has in these nominations. Well, thank you for watching. We have all of these over at YouTube. We have them on Twitter, and we have them on my blog. And if October 3rd is your birthday, happy birthday. Bye-bye, everybody.